Hello everybody, and it's time to learn a little bit about the revolve. And we're going to get into using a bezier curve, make a revolve, and we're going to make a vase. So let's get started. Alright, first of all, I'm in my modeling section here. That says my classic. I'm going to go to my standard, give me a little bit more screen real estate. And let's bring that grid back out. I want to see that. If you tap on your space bar, you can go from perspective view to your front view just by holding your cursor over the different viewports. I'm going to start in my front view when I start making my bezier curve, which is this icon right here. And one thing I want to make sure, because I want to show you guys what it's like from the beginning, is I'm going to make sure my tool is reset. It looks like everything's reset already, but I just wanted to double check that. Okay guys, let's get going. Alright. I'm going to use a bezier curve, but I'm also going to snap it to my grid, and that's this little button right here, snap to grid. You can also hold X on your keyboard, but for right now I'm just going to use that. And I'm just going to start clicking out here after I select the bezier tool and kind of draw a curve that's going to represent a vase, and then I'm going to show you how to revolve it. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this bezier curve, and I'll get a crosshair right here, and the first thing I'm going to do is just single click right on the origin where these two black lines are, and then on my next click I'm not going to just single click, I'm actually going to click and drag, and you'll see I get these handles that pull out. So there you go, so you can see I got these handles that pull out, and at this point now I have a nice flat surface on the basically what will be the ground plane, and I can turn my grid snap off now. So now I'm just going to go ahead and click and drag. And this doesn't have to be perfect because we can go in and adjust these later, but I'm just going to keep kind of clicking and dragging, click and drag. Now I'm going to just do two sharp ones at the top, click, click, and then click and drag, click and drag. And as you can see, I'm sort of trying to match the other control verts that I had laid down before. And the reason why I do that is because it just makes like a nice clean mesh that's evenly distributed and stuff. So I get down to here, and what I'm going to do is turn my grid snap back on because I want to snap it right to the grid again. The reason why I want it right on the origin and right stopping with the beginning and end of the curve is because when I do the revolve, it'll actually make it perfectly closed, like a closed mesh. So that there's no gap in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Q on my keyboard. It'll drop the tool. And now if I right click and hold down while my cursor's over the curve, you can see I get these options. And I'm going to go to the control verts, which are those things that I just laid down. So now with these control verts, I can move these around and manipulate these and change these. So I'm going to hit W on my keyboard. And the first thing I'm going to do is just going to pull that up a little bit. And then I'm just going to move these around a little bit to make them look a little bit nicer. You can select the actual middle control vert, like so, move it around any way you want. Or you can grab the curve, which will, or I should say the curve handle, which will allow you to adjust the fall off in the curve as it's going around. So let's see here. So all I'm trying to do now is just kind of make this look nice and elegant. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of, having a little fun. And I left these as sharp points because I want to show you what you can do with this. You can just single click on here and then start dragging, and then it'll pull the bezier out if you wanted to change a sharp corner to a curve. So single click, start dragging, and you just have to manipulate it the right direction, and you can pull it out like that. So in this case, I may want my corner to kind of look something like that. That looks nice. Okay, and the only thing I'm not really happy with is I don't like this bottom here too much. I think it's more this thing I think needs to be up a little higher. And maybe these two need to go up that way a little bit. Or this needs to come out. So I just kind of am picturing in my head what glass, like the profile of glass would look like. So, alright, not to nitpick too much. This is just a beginning thing, but I noodle a lot. It's just kind of the way I do it. Alright, there we go. So that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to go ahead and revolve. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit revolve, and you can see I've got this surface. Now this is a revolve surface. It's a NURBS surface. This is great for certain things, but I prefer polygon surfaces. So the reason why I left it at its default, so you guys can see what happens at its default. But at the end of the day, to get this into like a game engine or a real-time viewer online like Sketchfab, you have to turn it into a polygon. So I'm going to go ahead and change it into a polygon before I even get this NURBS surface. So I'm just going to delete that. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and go into the option box, which is right here. Just hit the option box, and this part's going to be really important if you're going to be doing revolves for the rest of the semester, or you're doing lofts. And we do use curves often to do complex shapes. So there's certain complex shapes that are hard to do with just poly modeling. It's just much easier to do with a curve because you can keep manipulating a curve. It's just easier to manipulate them sometimes. So obviously we have this output at the bottom that you can see here, and there's a section that says polygons. So that's what we're looking for. Just before we do that, I just want to explain the segments, this 8 segments. That was how many basically sections were going to be in the revolve. So when you revolve it, there would have been 8 sections in the NURBS surface. It works the same as the polygon, with the polygon, but what happens with the polygon is there's a multiplier, and I'll show you what that is. Okay, so I just clicked on polygon. You can see you get some more options, and it's pretty simple. We just want to change it to quads because triangles are going to look bad, and we want to change it to general, and then we want to change this to per number spans of isoparms, the bottom one right here. These are the settings that work the best. You can try playing around with the other stuff, but a lot of times it leaves n-gons and weird stuff. You don't really want it. Trust me, this is the way you want to go. Okay, so what the U number is, let me explain what these mean. Okay, so this is the only thing you really are going to have to really look at after you get these 3 settings set up, is the U number and the V number. So the U number, what it does is every control vert, in between the control verts, if your U number is 3, it's going to add 3 separations, and then there'll be 1 at the control vert. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 1 here. Okay. What the V number is the V number is a multiplier that gets multiplied times this segment. So I can turn this up or this up, either one, and get more sections as it's going around the circle. So let me show you how this would work. So if I go ahead and turn, let's just turn this up to 1 and hit apply. Actually, you have to be in object mode on your curve though. I'm going to hit apply, and you can see this is going to look really bad. It's not really bad. It's just this is the numbers I've given it, is I've allowed it for each control vert. Select that. For each control vert, it only allows 1 segment. Okay, so you got 1, 1, 1. Okay, so you get the picture. So let's just delete that. All right, now let's change this to 4. All right, so we'll select this again, hit apply. Now, check that out. That looks nice and smooth. And if we go ahead and turn on our wireframe, and let's see if I can select that curve. Got to be right over that curve to select it. If you come in here and you actually count, so you got these control verts. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. There's 1, there's 1. Okay, so we've got these control verts. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 segments in between there. So it's actually 3 separations, but 4 segments that it will create. So that's what this number is. Okay, and then this number would be 3 times 8, so it should be 24. So if we went up to our top view, and let's go to the object mode, and I'll go ahead and just get to edges just to prove this to you. Let me close that. And you can see we have our heads up display here. Let me just double click on an edge loop, and it should be 24 edges. There you go, right there, 24 edges. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so that's proof in the pudding. And that is what you want to do when you're creating these. If you create a NURBS on accident, you could just delete it and redo it. There is ways to convert NURBS and convert NURBS to poly, but this is literally just the same dialogue as we were just looking at in here. It's just another extension of it. So so this is the best way to go, because this, you can work on the UVs, which we'll get into later, and you can export this to Sketchfab. It can go in a game engine. It can be rendered in here in Maya. You can make it a sub D by hitting 3. Now look at how nice and smooth that looks. Hit 1 to bring it back from the subdivision surface. And so anyway, that's how you're going to want to do these revolves. All right, that's the beginning of revolves, and we're going to get into a little bit more, elegant revolves really soon. All right, thanks for watching. Happy modeling.